Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year to you. Are you ready to roar and soar in 2024? Or are you those that are cheering survive until 25? I'm telling you right now, I hope you are in the roar and soar in 2024 crowd. And for those of you that started with 30 mornings just recently, kudos and congrats for winning the day, because I know you won the day when you won the morning. And guess what? If you win January, you'll win the year. So here we are, and welcome to Referrals Podcast. And today is one of our favorites, and one of the favorites from years past is our top 10 list. So we are counting down the top 10 highest rated and highest downloaded episodes from 2023 to open the new year. And I'm going to get right to it. Now, one quick thing before I disclose number 10, you have to realize there's 52 of these, at least 52 of these, 52 weeks in the year. We release it every Tuesday morning. And there were a lot that were bunched up in the kind of top 30 area, just so you know. So wow on the year. And here's the other thing. You might think, well, the January ones had longer for more people to watch it. And so therefore, you had to have a lot of January ones. Well, here's what's interesting about Referrals Podcast in 2023, and kudos to the team, including Sherry and Matt and the entire crew who produces, engineers, edits, and organizes and puts out the podcast every week, is we went like this throughout the year. We increased downloads significantly through the year. We started out outside the top 100 podcast in the United States in the marketing, and we rounded out in the top 40 in all podcasts. Like, how many podcasts are there in the marketing category? I have no idea. But to be in the top 40 is amazing. The downloads went through the roof. Regularity, consistency mean the world. Putting out great content means the world. And people are looking to referrals more than ever before, because they are making the government, the lawsuits, the people, the consumer is rebelling more than ever against some of the old traditional super direct approach methods, right? The cold calling, the door knocking, the spam texting, spam emailing, that kind of thing. And here we are. The attractive approach is working, and people want referrals, and they want to utilize customer service to get more referrals and to turn their clients into raving fan ambassadors. So people are flocking towards what we're doing. And welcome, if this is your first podcast. If you decided to start the new year with Referrals Podcast and start it with us, welcome to the family. Welcome to the Generosity Generation. You can check us out at joingengen.com. That's JOINGENGEN.com. That is our private Facebook group. Answer a couple of questions. We'll get you in, and you'll be part of one of the largest referral networks in the world. So without further ado, we are going to announce the number 10 most downloaded and most reviewed podcast. So it is episode number 283. Interestingly enough, it is a masterful lesson in time blocking, where I have the honor and privilege of interviewing Carla Roberdeau and Neil Smith. And the subtitle was How to Find Freedom and Joy in Your Schedule. We talked about the power of white space and how to know you are working in the influential zone, which is straight out of 7L and the communication pyramid. And we talked about tracking your activities and getting a 2-week time block. And we also gave away a time mastery daily worksheet that myself, Carla, and Neil put together, and now many thousands of people are using on a daily basis. You can check that out at referralspodcast.com, that download. So without further ado, let's hear an excerpt from the number 10 top 10 episodes of 2023, episode number 283, A Masterful Lesson in Time Blocking with Carla Roberdeau and Neil Smith. Here it is.
One thing you introduced to me, and I've been around time blocking for a lot of years, was this concept of white space. And that is so mission critical that I'd never thought of that. And for those of you that not heard this term before, white space, Michael came up with this idea that you block out a good chunk of time in your day for kind of a catch-all. Because the first times I did time blocking, I'd be like, I'd be looking at, at the time I was recruiting loan officers. I'd be looking for lunches. I'm like, nope, I only do lunches on Tuesdays and Thursdays. My thing says that there's no way. And it was like crazy. I like let go opportunities sometimes because life happens and you got to let yourself have that grace to have that. And this white space as a catch-all has just been life-changing. I've seen a lot of people just have their time blocking really help with that space. So thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What's interesting is that it's one of those where like the place white space came is that's actually the color it was in my schedule, right? When I scheduled certain things, like even today, when I schedule certain things, I have color codes. Most of it's green, which goes back to ROI, right? Green time is money time or growth time. And then, then white space, you'll see like white space is open space, time you can do anything you want. That's what's so great about white space. There's your freedom. There's your variety. And I, being in real estate, people are going to call. People are going to want to see a house. People are going to refer you. You've got to have time to follow up on that referral. Or I think white space really is opportunity space. It's the opportunity to have an even better day than the one you planned. So if you don't have white space, guess what? Maybe you can't have a better day than you actually planned. And I truly believe it goes back to Jack Canfield when he said, with your affirmations, finish it with or something better. That was such I am a best-selling author was an affirmation for so long. And then I talked to Jack Canfield, met him, had a great conversation with him and talked about affirmations and that I'm a best-selling author. And he was like, oh, okay. Let's talk about that. He is a best-selling. Chicken Soup for the Soul did pretty well, I guess. And, and he was just like, or something better. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's such a profound thought. And that's what white space is. It's like, this is my schedule or something better. So I love that we brought that up because it does add to the freedom. So Neil, I want to go to you on like, what are you most passionate about when it comes to time management, time blocking, that kind of thing?
So before I get into that, or something better, I help out with 30 mornings, right? And I was listening to some kind of podcast or whatever, and the person was saying affirmations are so limiting because it limits you to a number. And then I was like, and I started chuckling and I thought of you because I was like, or something better, just add in that little bit and it's okay to get over that GCI or whatever it is. I was like, they obviously need to take your, listen to your stuff to figure out or something better. And this is a very popular national person that was saying that. So it's kind of interesting. But for me, time blocking and time mastery and everything, it's about efficiency. When I was in school, I like doing 2 hours of homework in 45 minutes. I always, when I watch my kids sometimes take an hour of homework and take it to 3 hours, I go nuts. I'm like, you guys are just wasting time. And so for me, it's all about figuring out what's the most important things I need to do. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about in time mastery for people that are in some kind of a sales component is it's basically the influential zone. And that's some of the most important stuff that we need to do. So how can we get in that influential zone and get that stuff done very efficiently? And first you got to get in the habit and then you got to take it and put in leverage. But really we're going to talk through this class. We're going to talk about breadcrumbing you through that. But for me, efficiency is number one. So,
yeah, I love that. You talked about the influential zone. What is the influential zone?
So influential zone, basically, when you're talking to people, right, is when are you having influence on people? And it could be, well, now that we're out of COVID, right, we can actually go to lunch with somebody. So you can have a one-to-one. You could also do a one-to-one, like we're doing a one-to-many here, but really you can Zoom in that too on a one-to-one. I think, and like my team is all remote. We meet every morning or most every morning at 8:30 a.m. Everybody has their camera on, because we want to have Zoom and see each other. I think it's so important. So one-to-one meetings, right? You can also do where you're doing phone calls, calling clients, Zoom meetings, what have you. And then you have events and seminars, whether you're going to an event and there's a whole system around that you teach, and I've taught as well, or hosting an event. And you have a really great class on that, right? Event Mastery. That's an amazing class on how to host an event and how to over ROI, because that's where you start getting into the leverage. So if your key is focusing on those things throughout your day, I guarantee you, when you're doing it with love and appreciation and respect, I guarantee you all of a sudden referrals are going to come in because people are going to really see who you are.
Yeah, love that. Love that. So influential zone, top of the communication pyramid. You've got phone calls, you've got events, seminars, and workshops. And then at the top, you've got one-to-one. And now we have that added aspect that you just mentioned, Neil, with the Zooms. Zooms can definitely be included in that top echelon. That's what I noticed at RMS this last year was I really felt like I knew a lot of these people, even though I'd never met them. And it really made me look at Zoom and FaceTime differently than I really ever had before, because I think before I would have included it into electronic communication, which is in the informational zone, not the influential zone. And the difference is in the informational zone, you can't listen, right? You've got advertising, direct mail, you've got electronic communication like email, and then you've also got the handwritten notes, right? There's no feedback. There's no two-way communication. It's all one way. Well, that's why the Zoom fits in the influential zone, is because what can you do in the influential zone that you can't do in the informational zone is you can listen, get feedback, and hone your message to the moment. And that's what Zoom allows you to do as well. So I love that. And that probably frees a lot of people mentally, is that they could do Zooms instead of phone calls. They could do Zoom events instead of events. They could do Zoom one-on-ones instead of one-to-ones. Now, they'll never replace the power energy of a one-to-one in person or a live event. Are you kidding me? I mean, everybody's coming back to live events. They're going nuts with it. So I love how you broke that down, and I love how you added the Zoom element to the impact that the influential zone can really have. And we want to spend more time in the influential zone. Like, what have you discovered about how long people typically spend in the influential zone, and what is the sweet spot, right? We can't be in the influential zone 100% of the time, can we?
Well, you want to take that, Carl, or you want me?
Go for it, Neil. I'll add my sense after.
So you say do it 80% of your workday, and I jokingly, and this is true, when I was really working on focusing on this, I've done it a few times, and then a lot of times I'm so tired the next day, I have to take the day off because I'm like, whew, I had to talk to all these people, I had to go do all this stuff, and man, because I'm kind of extrovert and introvert, and it's like I need to go recharge my battery. So, but yes, you can do 100% of your time. If you do that, you have to have leverage because you have to have a team behind you and what have you, for sure. But most of the time when I've seen people do the influential zone, they say they're going to be there 40% of the time. And the reality is it's about 10 to 15, maybe 20, maybe. And so that's the interesting thing about all of this is we are in a business where we're supposed to be influencing, but yet we're not talking to anybody or doing any of that.
I think you bring up a great point, because we talk about what is the secret to success in sales, business, and that kind of thing. And it's conversations. It really is. It's just conversations. Please notice that the influential zone is full of conversations, phone calls, events, and one-to-ones. Conversations rule everything. So having more conversations leads to more business. But you're exactly right. If we're left to create our own conversations, we're either in a huge reactive state, which means somebody's calling us or somebody is direct, in control of our time essentially, or we need to plan it in, right? Or we need to make it happen. And what you're saying is it's better to be proactive and professional and make it happen versus hoping it happens, right, Carla?
Absolutely. And for me, when I think about the influential zone, because some people get confused which zone it falls in, the influential zone to me is when you can be reactive immediately. You don't have to wait for them to respond, right? You can adapt to the conversation. You can change the direction of the conversation if it's going off course. And really, it's a time you can show someone you care. If you can show someone you care and immediately they get that, so through a conversation, that's the influential zone. And yeah, so many of us, it's amazing when we start paying attention how little we actually are in the influential zone. And that's one of the things we'll talk about a lot in the time mastery classes, how we track that, how long we're there and how can we grow in that area and be more in the influential zone.
And that, my friends, is our number 10 most popular and most downloaded episode of 2023. I love Neil Smith and Carla Roberdeau. And what I love also is that they are both certified referral trainers. We have done extensive training to help people become teachers of the referral mastery system, and they are two of the best. And with that said, we have one of our best CRTs here, certified referral trainers, Grant Muller, who is in our number 9 spot with his new book, Top of Heart. And his story is flat out amazing. I can see why this is one of the most popular downloads of 2023. And one of the things that I love is we have a community that supports our other community members and especially our CRTs in a big way. One of the things that I love about Referrals Podcast and you, the listeners, is we've had the opportunity to launch authors into becoming best-selling authors and making their books bestsellers on different lists, New York Times list, the Wall Street Journal list, Amazon, and so on and so forth. And we had that opportunity with Grant to support him and spread the word about his terrific book, which I could see being made into a movie one day. I cannot wait for you to hear the replay of this episode, which is Grant Muller, which is Top of Heart, and you are absolutely going to love it. One of the things that I've said so often through the years is that we need to make sure that to be referable, we need not to just be top of mind, but we also need to be top of heart with our sphere of influence, with our community, with our tribe of trust. And, many of those ways that we can do that is through love, generosity, and appreciation. And I believe that Grant truly exemplifies what is real and authentic. And you will absolutely love this episode. Check it out now.
So in short, Top of Heart is the mindset, the skill set, and the heart set to build real, true, genuine human connections with people. Because in business and in sales relationships, we focus too much sometimes on being in front of rather than with people. And we're taught to stay relevant rather than to stay real. And it's my suggestion that, that game is over. Putting up the business front is done. Going through those motions and playing numbers games and referring to human relationships like leads or victims even.
Wow.
It's just not fooling anyone anymore. And with AI right now, we're in the age that's brand new, right? We're in this AI world that we're in, and who knows where it takes us. Yeah. But what I can tell you right now is that we know it's replacing more and more of processes and sales processes. And I believe that what we're going to have left is our human ability, at least for hopefully the next couple of years, we're going to have our human ability to forge real heart-centered connections.
Well, I think you hit it on the head with real, right? I mean, we're in the first era of truly disbelieving what we're seeing. Yes. It's always been, I mean, we've always, like, if somebody said something, we didn't believe it, or we could not, or we see something in text, or it's in a newspaper, or it's from the government, or like, there's always been some element of distrust. But we've always been able to believe video. Like, the video tells all, right? And it's like somebody says, I didn't hit my wife. And then there's a video of him hitting the wife. And it's like, okay, like, I think that's pretty, but with today's AI world, Grant, there can be an AI video created where it says, hey, listen, have this person hitting a female, right? Yeah. And so, we're not going to be able to, but so what does that mean in the world of more artificial? And we're entering a world of more artificial. Yeah. The real will stand out more.
Yes.
This whole thing, referrals, real people, real stories, real referrals. It's real. And real and authentic has never been more important. And you've really touched on this with Top of Heart. I mean, it's top of heart. It's like, look at good advertising and marketing. It's AIDA, right? Get their attention, get their interest, get their desire, and then get them to take action. And what is it? It's an emotional thing. Sales is an emotional thing. Not AI isn't going to be able to elicit that emotion. It's not. It's only going to be right. Us connecting.
That's right. And let's take the mindset of getting real. I was trying to do the relationship thing early in my career because I heard that relationships were, real estate was a relationship business. We've heard it a million times. So I thought, okay, great. Well, then I'm going to go make a bunch of relationships. Yeah. And so I did. And I tried to make as many relationships as I could so I could build a big business.
Right.
But I wasn't present.
Yeah.
And I was not open. It was one-on-one broadcasting. rather than a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, totally. And it wasn't deep, right? It wasn't deep. No. It was somewhat sincere, right? And very intentional and all good. So, but I think, so how is this new approach to business more relevant in the AI age or more relevant in this marketplace than it ever has been, in your opinion?
I think our clients are getting deluged with, is that the right word? I hope so. Deluged with postcards.
Yeah.
They're hearing advertising now. I have conversations with people and I can't find the conversation when I want to pick it up again because I don't remember if I was talking to them on Thread or IG or Facebook or or on the phone or in email. I don't know where the conversation thread is anymore. And I know, speaking of AI, I think all that's going to come together and get easier one day soon, I'm sure. But until then, we have all these conversations. Well, those conversations are also often marketing conversations that we're getting, and we're getting bombarded. I can't answer my phone anymore. The only reason I answer my phone is because I'm a realtor. Mm-hmm. I certainly would not otherwise, because every other call it's worse than it's ever been. And so we're getting bombarded from all these different directions. And what I believe our clients want is somebody in their corner at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. What our clients want is real actionable information, not data. We've got datas everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think this is more and more critical than ever. I also think we have an epidemic of loneliness. I don't think, they say, smarter people say, we have an epidemic of loneliness in this country.
And that followed the epidemic of COVID, do you think, with the isolationism that caused?
Yeah, I think it's that. And then I think that we feel like we have these artificial intelligence relationships, which is social media. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good start. It's good for top of mind, which is a wonderful start, but it just doesn't go far enough. And people are just yearning for more. Like you and I can have a great conversation right here.
Yeah.
But if we're sitting this close in real life, I get to see that little glint in your eye that's imperceptible almost.
Yeah.
That suggests to me that maybe we've hit pay dirt and maybe we've come to a place in the conversation where we can slow down and dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Where I can just hold space for you.
Yeah.
And so I think more than ever, we're just yearning for that connection.
Yeah, I truly believe it. I'm on this thing harping, the ego era is over. ABC was always be closing, and the new era is the generosity generation, and the ABC of the generosity generation is A, always B, C, connecting. Always be connecting. Connect with yourself, connect with others, and then connect others. And I truly believe that the consumer has gone from caged and enraged, and there's many that are still that way or feel that way. And we're kind of evolving to being uncaged and allowing the freedom and figuring out like what that really means now, and engaged. We're looking to be engaged. People want to be invited to a one-to-one. People want to be invited to events. People want to engage. They really do, but they haven't been invited by someone sincere who sincerely wants them.
I have to say, of all the things I've learned from you, and there are many, the concept around simply offering invitations, putting invitations out rather than promotions out, has been a huge change in my business, but not just my business, my life, because it's true. I love nothing more than to simply say, hey, Michael, I was just thinking of you. We should go grab coffee sometime.
Yeah. Or we should do a podcast sometime.
It's all we do for life. Yeah, exactly.
Like today. Yeah. And that's the other thing, right? Well, and of course you love the invitation versus flyers and brochures, right? Because invitation, invite, where does the root of invite come from? It comes from in vitals, and your vitals, like take your vital signs, where's that originate? In your heart, right? So in heart, in life, actually. So invite means come in to my life, right? Into my heart.
Beautiful.
And it's very emotional. It's more heartfelt than it is logical in some cases, right? So of course you love that. It's aligned with your entire philosophy of top of heart, which is brilliant and beautiful. So, all right. So you said earlier that it took coaches and mentors and support, right, for Rocky to prevail, and the same with you. So, like, what does that look like? You've already mentioned me, and I don't think we need to belabor that. I appreciate that very much, but like what did that look like as you were coming out? And what I hope that you inspire is that person that's listening, and the who is not them. Like the who is not you is something I say all the time. Like get help. Like get help to go to the next level.
Yes. And
so who were some people that helped you, and how did they help you along the way?
I'll give you a few quick examples. Number one is, my family helped save my life. I was really lucky that when I raised my hand, I was missing. They couldn't find me, and I wouldn't even connect with them because I was with so many dangerous people that I knew they could be used as leverage. So they weren't even in my phone, and they've been looking for me for many, many years. And when I finally reached out and said, I need help, luckily I got it from them. So that's number one. Number two, in recovery, I have a sponsor who's helped me go through the 12 steps. And I've been working with the same sponsor for 15 years now. Wow. And so that's been an incredible journey. And then, of course, the next step is I sponsor others, and I just need to be one step ahead to do that. So I want to share with your audience, if there's something that that works well for you, share it with the other agent, share it with the other person. And then I'll give another example. I read the book Endless Referrals and then The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. And that one's also written by John David Mann. And I love the 5 laws. And similar to your book, I read them and said, oh yeah, those are great. And I went out and didn't really implement or really, really live into those concepts. But then when I came back to them again, I dug deeper and I read The Go-Giver again, and I really made some big changes in my business. And I saw that Bob was teaching a course, and I went to Florida and I learned. And then he was teaching another one, and I went to Florida and I learned. And similar to my process with you, I exposed myself in person to those concepts. And every time one of you mentions someone else, Bob mentions Randy Gage a lot when he talks about prosperity and money mindset. So I thought, who's this Randy Gage person? So then I dug a little deeper. And Randy Gage also wrote a little endorsement for the book, which is cool. So it's amazing how things change.
Yeah.
But you guys have become mentors and friends for me and colleagues in some ways.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I could go on and on. At any given time, I have 4 or 5 coaches, whether it's in nutrition or working out, riding horses.
That's right.
I have a speaker coach. I have a coaching coach. I have like 3 coaching coaches. But I have a lot of different coaches at any given time because I want to go faster. Frankly, I have big ambitions, and I don't know what I don't know.
So his story is so powerful, isn't it? Grant is one of the greatest guys. And if you didn't know his story, if you just met him now, you would just think, oh my God, greatest, never had a problem in his life. Honestly. But once you know his story and know where he came from, it is just so powerful to learn and to just understand that he really had to learn a lot about himself in this process. And he, instead of trying to fit in, he said, it's okay to stand out. And I hope you got that message out of that. And I appreciate Grant for everything he represents. So that leads us to number 8. And so number 8 is 281, episode 281, the dream sheet spreadsheet. So so the whole title is The Dream Spreadsheet, a roadmap for turning the ideal into the real with Jeff Lutzinger. And so in a class called Sweet Dreams, one of our Referral Mastery Academy courses, is Sweet Dreams is our nightly ritual class. And we teach the Sunday evening ritual and nightly ritual, which have the acronym Sweet Dreams. And one of the things that I talk about in there, one of the exercises we have to do is called the Dreams List. Now, some people, it's like a bucket list and a goal list and a reward yourself list that you talk to your partner, significant other, or spouse about, or family, and you take it to the next level, which is pictures. And imagine a vision board of your bucket list, and that's essentially what the dreams list is. Well, some people do it at different levels. Jeff took it to the nth level. He took it to the infinite level, and he created a dream spreadsheet. And one of the benefits of this that I love is that his spouse, his wife, got on board to support Jeff's real estate career. And if you're not in real estate, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand what it is to be a realtor. It's different. It's just different. It's I don't know how to explain it. And once it's in your blood, you can't get it out. Once real estate's in your blood, you can't get it out. I can't get it out. And so, Jeff was getting busier. Well, as he was getting busier, he was taking more time away from the spouse. And he even with some level of time blocking, he still was being drawn away. Well, she was like, well, you're retired. We're supposed to do some stuff. And so he created this dreams list, and they started doing the things on each of their dreams list. And now she is one of the most supportive, biggest cheerleader he has for his real estate business. So, the big thing here is identify your dreams. This is such a great episode, great timing for this, because January of the year is, you've got the opportunity to achieve a bucket list item this year or a dreams list item this year. So, identify your dreams and then make them happen. And we have a dreams list worksheet that we have as part of your download at referralspodcast.com. Make sure you go to referralspodcast.com. You can get all 3 of the downloads that we've already discussed from today. So I hope you enjoy today's session, or this session. It's the number 8 on our top 10 episodes of 2023, The Dream Spreadsheet, a roadmap for turning the ideal into the real with Jeff Lutzinger. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Here it is. I've got to let people understand the power of what you're about to share, because this is a dreams list, or some people might call it a bucket list, like the list you want to do before you kick the bucket. I always felt bucket list was a very negative term, but it's like, this is a dream sheet or dream list, a list of things you want to do before you pass away, or a list of things you want to do, period. And these are dream to-do lists, not just like your to-do list for tomorrow, right? This is your to-do list for each and every year. And it's a dreams list. And this is something that we do as part of Sweet Dreams. And it's one of my favorite exercises ever, and has led me to really knowing the Caribbean well, really doing some really crazy cool things like standing on a rock that's 2,500 feet above the, nothing. And just like really doing these crazy, climbing the highest mountain in Northern Europe and doing some crazy stuff that maybe I may not even have thought of if I didn't have a dreams list. And what Jeff's sharing is how that truly went to the next level and conquered success suicide. The success suicide was external from his wife's worry that he was going to be too busy for them to truly enjoy retirement. He found a way to get her buy-in to help make the dreams list possible and also make him more successful, which he is now very, very successful. So, all right. So you created your list and you went to your wife. Tell us what happened next.
Yeah. So I had it broken down into 3 categories. If money was not an issue, money, if we could afford it, and then money, we got it, let's do it right now. And so I had her start at money not an issue. This is the big pie in the sky. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of drilled down each of them. So I gave it to her and said, just work on this over the next couple of days. And I did it too. A few days later, we regrouped and she gave me her rundown. I gave her my rundown. And we compared to see what things were common, because the common things, those are the golden tickets right there. Those are the definite, those are going to be on there. And then the one-offs, she had a couple of things on her list that I hadn't thought of. Oh, that's a great idea, and vice versa.
So you added it to your list, right?
Yeah, well, we made a mutual list.
Oh, yes. Now we're talking. I hope everybody's listening. Make a dreams list separately, get together, and now you have a combined couples dreams list. I hope everybody's writing this down. So, all right. So I have to ask, what was in common with, what were some of the things that were in common in the very beginning?
In common was family time, things with the family. Okay. We both grew up in dysfunctional households. Okay. And, without getting into the specifics, that has been something very important to us. We have 4 adult children. We've got 11 grandkids, counting 4 step grandkids. Wow. 3 of our children live in, close proximity. I think the furthest one is 5 miles from our house. Okay. The other one lives, a ways out of town. But due to that, we want to involve our children in as much as we can. We have weekly, every Tuesday night is family dinner night at our house.
Every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
You have Taco Tuesday with your family every Tuesday.
Yes. Actually, last week we did have tacos. Yes.
Let's go. I love it. Every week, though. How amazing is that? I love that. People wait for Thanksgiving. They wait for holidays. Every Tuesday is a holiday in your house.
Yeah. And that has been, and there's no shame. If you can't make it one week,
right. Okay, you're going the next week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love that.
And so family time. So we've got,
brilliant.
Our kids, different levels of success because they're, still getting their families going. And so
that's how it works.
Family vacations. we've got some grandkids that have been to Disneyland several times. We have a couple that had never been to Disneyland. So my wife and I, we took 2 of them to Disneyland last October. That was on our list. We need to get these kids to Disneyland. We want to have recurring family events. We want to do some world traveling. We did a family trip to Washington, D.C. several years ago. It was great. Now, Pam and I would like to go back, and there's so much to see back there. Charitable donations. We found a really nice charity here in our town that really spoke to us. And so, part of my budget is I budget a percentage of all my commissions goes to this one charity. Then, we want to work towards being debt free.
Yeah.
And we have some house projects. Our house is only 6 years old, but all right, we want to, let's tweak this, tweak that type things at the house. And so we cover kind of all sorts of things: personal things, family things, household things. So
I'm really surprised there aren't like these are, I don't want to call them modest because their dreams, like to be debt free is a dream for many people. And to take the kids to Disneyland, definitely a dream type of thing. But doing renovation around the house is something maybe some people may not even think of to put on their dreams list. Love that. Is there like what were a couple of the things that were like on her if money was not an issue list? Like what did you have common in that one? Like the shoot the moon list.
A lot of world travel.
Yeah.
If you think, the United States is only 200 some odd years old.
Right. Yeah.
And we've got a lot of cool history stuff to see back east.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world, Europe is, thousands of years old. Italy, Spain, Greece, London, Greece, all that stuff. So that is on our bucket list.
All right. So what's the one, right? So you've got this mixed list. What's on is there a future trip like that planned, or what's kind of next on the list? And then you take me to the next, right? Because I've got like, let's do it now. And then I like the someday we'll save up for it. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, shoot the moon list, right? Money's no issue. So like, what's next? And then what is that shoot the moon thing that you think is coming up?
Well, we used to have a big boat, a 40-foot boat. We sold it last September. We'd had it for a few years, and we decided, let's, instead of changing the boats, because we thought about getting rid of that one and getting a different one. And it was during one of these conversations, we said, why don't we get rid of that boat and not buy a new one right away? Let's travel for the next 3 to 5 years, which we did. And so one of the big things is a entire family cruise.
Wow.
We don't know where yet, whether it's the Caribbean or Panama Canal or somewhere, but we'd like to be able to get our kids and grandkids, everybody together, in-laws. We like our children's spouses' parents.
Wow. So not just the 17 of you. You're thinking about taking the in-laws as well.
If in-laws can go, stuff like that. Just a big family cruise. That's one of the pie in the sky ones. Shorter things are.
Talk about a boat change, right? I have to ask you about the boat, right? Mm-hmm. Is it true what they say about boat owners? The 2 greatest days in the life of a boat owner is the day they buy it and the day they sell it. Is that true?
I think for a lot of people, yes.
It was for me. That's why I'm asking. I'm just telling you, I felt chained to the boat. Like I got to go to the boat because I have a boat. It's like I felt like I needed to go to the lake because I had a boat there. And it's like the boat would be lonely without me. So
yeah, in 2021, I counted up. We did over 60 days on the boat.
Yeah,
we were out.
You were using it. That's great.
Yeah, and that's just, overnighter stuff.
Yeah.
So it's shorter term stuff. We've got other small cruises. We've got other things with the kids. There's the grandparent time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jeff Lutzinger. How great was that? And what an amazing story. And take your entire family on vacation, and then you start to include grandkids. It just anything's possible. Anything's possible. And so I love that. And I found this next one very interesting, as we are at number 7 of our top 10 countdown. And what's interesting about this one is this episode isn't very old. So that means that it must be really, really good, because it's had less time to get more downloads and more popularity out there. But I can see why this episode became number 7 and got into our top 10 very quickly. And the episode is 314, and it's networking secret revealed. And it's how to boost your business with meaningful one-to-one meetings with Becky Davis. And Becky is a realtor in the Boston area. And what's interesting about it is that networking has never been more valuable and effective than it is right now. What happened in 2023, I say this all the time about the consumer, is the consumer, all of us, went from, in 2020, we were caged and became enraged. You see it in Facebook posts. You still see it today. Somebody will post about their kid hitting their first home run, and there will be comments about, oh, well, with the bats today, anybody can hit a home run, which is absolutely not true, just so you know. You still got to hit it, or they'll say something, oh, it looks like a short fence, or, man, that was a fat kid, or, wow, that pitch came at 35 miles an hour. And it's just like there's nitpicking attitude that really started around 2020 and kind of became more prevalent as we got more caged and we became caged and enraged. Well, in 2023, people started to lose some of that. Some of the protective elements of just being at home went away, and we don't have to stay at home. We are now uncaged. And the other part of it is now we're looking to engage. So we've gone from caged and enraged to uncaged and looking to engage. And, people are starting to network more, but our social circles were demolished. Our social habits were blown away. Now people are looking to establish new social habits, and networking has never been more effective and more valuable than it is right now, because everybody kind of starts out new. Every relationship starts out new. So you can build 10-level relationships with the new people you're meeting. And you can do that with the 7L way. You can do that learning from Becky Davis in this excellent episode 314, Networking Secrets Revealed, how to boost your business with meaningful one-to-one meetings with Becky Davis. Don't just meet with anyone. You want to, when you meet up, meet up. When you meet up, meet up. Meet people who are more successful, who are more wealthy, who are more fun, who are more energetic, who are more. And how do you know if you're meeting with the right people? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Do you do your hair? Do you shave your legs? Right? Do you shave? Do you dress up? Do you know that you have to be on point and ready to go? If you know that you are dressed to impress and ready to impress, then you're meeting with the right people. And if you're thinking, well, I can just wear sweats and this hoodie and I'll be fine and they won't care, then you're meeting with the wrong people. So, don't just meet with anyone. When you meet up, meet upwards, meet people who are higher than you in some aspect. And by the way, everyone is higher than you in some aspect. It's up to you to find what aspect that is. Fill your schedule with strategic people And, the follow-up here is key. The fortune is in the follow-up. I say that all the time. It's part of our 5 sequences of event mastery. It's a key to everything really in life. And that power, what's next, the power of what's next in the relationship, and getting yourself a homework assignment at the end of the one-to-one. And she goes so much deeper into a lot of these concepts. I know you're going to love Becky like I do. It's Becky Davis and How to Boost Your Business and Meaningful One-on-One Meetings with episode 314, Networking Secrets Revealed. And it is number 7 on our countdown of the top 10 episodes of 2023. Enjoy. What is your goal during the networking stack, or what's your goal during the one-to-one meeting? Do you feel like you have a goal?
My goal is always to get to know that person more and figure out a way to help them if I don't already know going into it. So there's really not a hugely structured goal. It's just like, how can I find out more?
So you do that with questions, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
so
I usually use Frog.
Yeah. Okay. So you use Frog. What's Frog for those that are new to us?
Which is family, recreation, occupation, and goals. Right. So it makes, like, as the shy extrovert, it actually helps me figure out how to keep a conversation going. I always was a little bit nervous having to be the focus of a conversation. So I love being the one that asks the questions and then get more information from other people. And that helps me because if there's a lull in conversation, I can always just ask another question and then get them talking more.
That's right. And people do love to talk about themselves. Most people do love to talk about themselves. We don't. That's why we form this entire question-based Socratic process that, we do across Gen. It's all based on really arming ourselves with questions so that we don't have to talk about ourselves. I mean, that's what's so crazy about it. But all right. So, give me some examples of Frog questions that you've asked before, right?
So this time of year is easy. Had the kids make it off to school, or what school are they in now? What grade? Are they starting sports already? Are you, do you have any tournaments coming up? What did you do over the summer? Did you go anywhere? What my favorite, because I ask this to most people, what's your favorite travel, your bucket list travel destination? Because that always gives me a homework assignment if I can't find another one, because usually you can find something to follow up with on that.
And when you say homework assignment, we need to explain that for the crowd, for the people in the back.
So I always need a goal, and the goal is to find out more. And the end goal is to find out a homework assignment to be able to follow up with something, add value in some way.
Yeah. So you're looking for an action item that you can go and just knock their socks off with some cool thing, right? So let's say if their travel destination, which is just such a great question anytime, so let's say they say it was Greece and Italy. What would be a typical follow-up for you?
So the easiest thing is, and it goes a long way, is get on Amazon. I don't know what I would do without Amazon Prime. Seriously. Yeah. Get on Amazon, find a couple of travel books and send them to them. They get them the next day with a little note from me. And it's a thank you. This is to read up on your bucket list travel. Hopefully it happens this year, whenever.
Love it.
Something better than that, but what I mean.
Yeah. I love it. What's the greatest response you've ever gotten from a homework assignment? What's one that you really recollect as a memorable, they were just thrilled, or they called you and said, oh my gosh, that's cool.
Mine was, so I got two really good ones, but one of them was the bucket list, and it was Italy, and she was going there not this year, but next year. So I sent a book, and she just called me. Because it was a friend of my daughter, or it was a mom of my friend's daughter, my daughter's friend. Does that make sense? My daughter's friend's moms. Yep. So it was it wasn't like a business meeting I was going into. It was going in to meet another mom that I don't know that well. And I get a homework assignment because I find out her bucket list is to go to Italy because she hasn't been before. And I send the book, and she called me as soon as it got there and was like shocked. And like, it makes you feel good when you do something. Like, I just want to do that to make her feel good. And then she does it and then makes me feel good. And it's like one of those vicious cycles.
So how much did it cost you?
Like $5.99 or something. It's like,
did you get
much.
The Rick Steves one?
It was, I think so. It was like the number one voted.
Yeah, that's probably
Italy
Rick
tour
Steves.
book. Mm-hmm.
That guy owns the guidebook, travel guidebook business. Okay, what was the other one? All right, so that was a good one. And you didn't really have any relationship with her at all, right?
So like only by like periphery, really, not really. We hadn't had lunch. We hadn't, you know what I mean? So it was just like, it was a friend's mom.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it was like a zero relationship, 0+. You heard the name, but didn't know. And, on a scale of 0 to 10, where would you put that relationship now?
Like a 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, like $5.99. How much is that worth? Right. I mean, that's awesome. 10. All right. So what was the other one? People are begging to know, right? I mean, this is what we do in Gen. And isn't it fun?
Yeah, it's great. I'm blanking on the name of the place right now, but so it was, I had been introduced to an attorney. I had used her once, and we met for lunch. She ended up being a sponsor of two of my events. And so we were meeting and talking about that. And I don't think we discussed it, but she has a summer house in Rhode Island. And to thank her, I remembered it from the last time. So to thank her, I sent a candle that's also a reusable glass that has the name of where it is. And I'm blanking and I feel bad about that, but it's in Rhode Island. So now she'll have, if she does burn the candle, she'll have the glass to use in her vacation home. And if not, it will just be on the shelf.
Yeah, I love it. Or she'll use it at home to remind her that she needs to go to her vacation house.
Yep.
Right? All right. So I love that. So all of a sudden, this is what I love. All of a sudden, you're getting really good at these one-to-ones. So what it does is it builds confidence, and competence leads to confidence. And when we have that confidence in a one-to-one, we're thought, you know what? I'm pretty good at this networking thing. I think I'm going to start networking. So tell us about the charity networking group you joined and how you're involved with that.
So I joined, it was probably about a year ago. I joined the Boston Women in Business for Good. So it's a charity networking group where we get together, we volunteer, and we donate. So all of our member dues goes to the charity of our choice quarterly. So we hold an event, which is a gather and grant, and our members nominate. We usually want 3 charities to come to the event to talk about what they do, how they help people, and where our money would go. And then we vote electronically on who wins. And then whoever wins, they get the money. So in the last year, we've just been a group for a year, we've donated over $25,000. And next month's event, our goal is $7,500 to give to whoever we vote on next month.
Wow. Let's go.
So it's like a huge impact, and it's mainly local places, and it's a Boston group. So it's not necessarily Milton, but it's like we're 8 miles from Boston, and really parts of Boston are like a half mile from me. So it's all my community. And so there was a call out for a couple leadership opportunities last fall, right after I joined. And one happened to be events and sponsorships. And I learned so much from you personally, from event mastery, and also from doing my own events, that I'm like, yes, please. So I've been doing the events since then. So I put together the gathering grants each quarter, and then we usually do virtual, like a not your average networking thing. And then we need to add more volunteer work, but work in progress.
Wow. Now, do you use this to fill your stack?
I do sometimes. It's a little bit more difficult because it's not necessarily like super local. So I've been actually thinking of finding another home court in Boston proper so that I can go there like even once a month or once every quarter, really, to like do follow-ups from that event so that I can just fill with those.
I'm sorry. Does this just jumps out? Is Cheers the bar an option? I mean, come on. Like, you go there, everyone knows your name, or
Right.
at least that's what they say.
Right. I should check that out.
Come on. I mean, is that too easy? That was too easy. I think that was just too easy. It's like,
that was a layup for you.
For the millennials, go Google Cheers. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit and just talk about your Give Back campaign that you started last year, right? So what is it? Why did you start it? And how does that relate to the Gathering Grant, right?
So I think it is like supplemental because it's more personally for my business. It's a charity-driven initiative where I make a donation for every sale to the charity of my client's choice. And then I also tie all of my personal events to a local charity. So I love it because I can make a difference in my own community, not just by personally donating to them, but also to inspire others to kind of help and build support for local causes. So my event next month is going to be for the food pantry. And the one I had last month was for like a local art gallery that have like kids go and do art classes.
Okay. Wow. So then my next question is really, how do you incorporate the charity into your events, right? So how do you do that? Like, what specifically do you do to let people know what charity is, the charity of choice is, that kind of thing?
So I always have it on my invite. I specifically put it on like I don't send out paper invites, but on the actual like form of the invite, I have their logo. And then I also put it into the electronic part of the invitation with more information about their organization and also a link directly to donate, so that if they do it beforehand, then that is an opportunity. I also put it in, if it's an event I'm advertising on social media, I'll also, like, that's always a call out that it's for this organization. Like I just did a movie night in the park and that was for the art club, the Milton Art Center. So they also shared my event to everyone in Milton as well and had a link to sign up. They also had, it wasn't just a movie in the park. We had them come 2 hours early so that there was an art table that Milton Art Center ran. We had face painting. We didn't end up having face painters. So all the kids got to paint each other's faces, which I think was the hit of the entire event.
What a great spin. I love it. Instead of having actual face painters, we're just going to let them paint each other's face. That had to be awesome.
I think next year we're just going to do that. Like, we are not having face painters because they just had so much fun.
That's a nugget. That's a pearl right there. People need to write that down. Is forget having the little official face painters that take 30 minutes to do one face. Like 30 seconds, those kids will paint each other like nobody's business. I love it. I told you we're going to love her. I'm serious. She is loving, generous, and appreciative. In every aspect, and just she's grown so much. It's been great to coach her. Great to see her as part of the Referral Mastery Academy and everything that she's been doing. She has jumped in 110% into what we're doing with everything Referral Mastery System, and is paying off for her in a big, big way. I love that. And that leads us to number 6. And we're going to end at number 6 today, and we'll give you the top 5 during the next podcast. And what's interesting about number 6 is it did surprise me, because this is a solo that I do. I don't do very many solo episodes. I prefer to have somebody else on, and we talk and discuss. I'm more interested in what other people think than what I think. There you go. So, episode 305 is the number 6 most popular and most downloaded episode of 2023. And that is the 3 C's of referability. And in this one, we talk about fortune favors the highly competent. And this is actually part of a series. So in my opinion, we'll give you an excerpt from 305, but we're going to give you a link to 304, 305, and 306 in the show notes below, so that you can connect to those episodes and listen to part 1, which is on character, part 2, which is episode 305 on competency. And then you're also going to want to listen to 306, which is talking about communication. And those are the 3 C's of referability. So this is me talking about how fortune favors the highly competent and why we need to master what we're doing, or at least set the goal of mastery and continually get better at whatever our profession is. So, you put the profession in professional. So that is episode number 305, the 3 C's of referability, part 2, fortune favors the highly competent. That is number 6 on the top 10 episodes of 2023. Enjoy this episode. I love it. So a great little excerpt. Competence, well, what character is do the right thing, and competence is do things right. Mm-hmm. So should we do things right? Well, of course we should do things right. And we should seek to become the expert in what we are. For me, it was seek to become an expert as a real estate agent, which meant things like negotiation, paperwork. I needed to become the expert on the contract, even though I wasn't an attorney. I needed to become an expert at marketing homes. I needed to become an expert at the transaction. I needed to become an expert at a lot of different things that involve real estate, interpersonal skills, some sales skills as far as, what to say, what to do, that kind of thing. I had to become an expert in timely responses. And I needed to become an expert in a lot of different things. And it's one of those where the 3 C's actually go in order of importance. And when I say that, character is actually the least important of all 3 of the C's, believe it or not. Competence is more important than character. I know that sounds weird, but it really is, because honestly, if you're really good at what you do, people are not going to care about your character. Like, I have surgery coming up. It was hinted to in the shout out today. I have surgery coming up. And I just do I care how honest this guy is? Do I care how much integrity he has? It's like, no, he's the best at doing a Achilles surgery in the entire Southeast. So guess what? I don't care. I don't care about anything else, to be honest with you. I want to go to the best. And here's the thing. If you're in real estate, it's the biggest financial investment of a person's life. So they really don't care a whole lot about the other stuff, as long as you know what to do. And I'm telling you right now is that seek to be an expert in whatever profession, whatever thing you're doing. And you'll never go hungry, because it doesn't, you want to, that's the best thing about being the best, is that, let's say you have to get Achilles surgery. Now, I'm an athlete, and I consider myself still an athlete, and I want to do athletic endeavors afterwards. So the repair of my Achilles tendon is a really big thing. So let's say you had to have Achilles tendon surgery, right? Who would you go to? Insurance is paying, right? Other than the deductible, insurance is paying a majority of your bill. Where are you going? Who are you using? You're going to use the best. I'm just going to throw it out. You're going to use the best that your insurance can buy. So you're going to use the best. Do you care if it's a woman or a man? No, you don't. Do you care if they're black or white or brown or yellow?
No.
You don't care. You don't care. You don't care if they're a freaking alien. You don't care about anything except for how well they do it. And guess what? That is how most people think, is if you're known as being the best, then they don't care what your nationality is. They don't care your color. They don't care your gender. They don't care your politics. They don't care about your character. They just want the best. So be the best And then guess what? You will get referred by simply being the best. And that is a very important part of the referability. Here's the other thing about competency. Competence leads to confidence. So the more you learn and the more you feel comfortable with the contract, with negotiations, with if you're a lender, with the process, with the different types of programs, the more competent you are in those things, the more confident you are. Well, confidence is extremely attractive for people. People want to work with confident people. That just makes sense, And I do know that can even go overboard sometimes. I know people who are known for kind of being the best, and they're egotistical, arrogant. And here's the thing. People will overlook arrogance and being egotistical if you're the best. They will. They'll go, oh my God, that guy's such an a-hole, but I'm going to work with that attorney because they're the best. And that's how it works. So being competent can overcome a lot of other shortcomings. One of those could be color, height, looks,
How
gender,
long you've been in the industry?
Years in the industry, any of that. And just so you know, in most professions, you can become an expert in less than a year. You can be, if you work on it, if you literally go to work every day on it, you can be an expert in a year. There's 10,000 hours that you can spend in a year or whatever. So it's one of the, I don't know what 365 times 24 is. I guess that would be like 7,500, but you're going to be able to get quite a few. I guess it would be 365 times 24. What is that? Can you do that on your phone real quick?
I'm so used
to Siri,
in your head.
What is 365 times 24? Hey Siri, what is 365 times 24?
8,760.
There you go. So you've got, let's call it, you've got 8 hours of sleep a day, right? So that's 24 hours. So you've got 2/3 of that where you can work on becoming an expert. And it really does help to
I was just going to say, and there's so many ways that you can work on that because, like you were saying, like becoming, you got to have competency in contracts. And what's the easiest way to do that? Practice writing them, go through and make up, write fake offers and just to go through it. So, what's in the paperwork and all the points that you can negotiate.
People ask me all the time, like what our onboarding process was to get people in production so fast. The first thing that everybody we had did is they quote unquote fake listed their own residence. So they would practice getting a listing, and they would practice writing the description, and they would practice entering in an MLS, and then we wouldn't hit submit. We'd just hit delete. And so we would do 10 of those. And then we would do 10 contracts where all it was is write the offer. And then we would practice those 10 and we would negotiate them out. I would be the listing agent. They would be the buyer agent for the first 5. And then they would be the listing agent. I would be the buyer's agent on the next 5. And I threw it at them. I threw everything in the kitchen sink, like we want your dog too, into the negotiations. I would have a lot of fun on that last one where it's just like, hey, we want you to take the water heater out and put in a tankless water heater, right? And, I would get the deer in the headlights look, and it was great practice. I tried to make it harder than any live contract they would ever do. Guess what? They got better. And that is just, honestly, that's the best training you could ever do for a new real estate agent. For a new lender, have them do 10 fake loans. Have them go through it. Have them communicate with you like you're a realtor. Have them communicate with you like you're a consumer or another person. And if you have 2 of these people going through, you can have them communicate with each other as consumers. So building competence is easy, but it is amazing to me. What I saw in real estate is somebody would say, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. They've essentially done it at a sucky level for 20 years. They've essentially done their first year in real estate 20 consecutive years. That's because they didn't grow and there was no growth. And I still had to explain things to quote unquote 20-year veterans that were like basic parts of the contract. or basic parts of negotiation. Like, guess what? Personal property is not a part of the contract. It should not be a part of the contract, right? Unless I want it to be. But the thing is competence is the easiest to attain. It's powerful. It makes you more confident. It makes you walk taller, walk faster, do business faster. I will tell you the opposite of competence. And that is, I got my very first client from softball, interestingly enough. And when I was showing them homes, listen to me. I mean, I hope everybody here understands how real estate agents get paid. They get paid when somebody writes an offer, gets a contract, and that contract closes. I was showing homes to my very first client, secretly praying that they would not want to make an offer. Now, you got to realize how counterproductive that is. Literally, I talked them out of like 3 homes that they wanted to make offers on. Oh, no, not this one. Right. Why? Because I didn't know how to write a contract. I didn't know how to write an offer. Nobody trained me. I didn't have any training. I didn't know what was going on. Boom. Speaking of being highly competent, that is you listening to Referrals Podcast. We help you become more competent every single day. And hopefully we also help in the character and communication department. And Referrals Podcast, as you know, is real people, real stories, real referrals. We interview real people who tell us their real stories, and we discuss the real referral strategies that they implement and have fun with it. And they also talk about some trials and tribulations that happen along the way. So those are the first 5 of our top 10 episodes of 2023. To quickly review those, is number 10 is number 283, a masterful lesson in time blocking, how to find freedom and joy in your schedule, with Carla Roberdeau, Neil Smith, and myself. A very good episode on time blocking and time management. The number 9 most downloaded and most popular episode was episode 297 with Grant Muller. Our CRT launches his Top of Heart book today, and that is a book that you're going to want to go get on Amazon. The number 8 most downloaded, most popular episodes of Referrals Podcast is episode 281, the Dreams List Spreadsheet, a roadmap for turning the ideal into the real, with Jeff Lutzinger. Love that episode. And then we have number 7, episode 314, Networking Secrets Revealed, how to boost your business with meaningful one-on-one or one-to-one meetings with Becky Davis and myself. A very good guide to how to network to success. I love that episode. And the number 6 most popular, most downloaded episodes of the top 10 episodes of 2023 is episode number 305, which is part 2 of a 3-part series on the 3 C's of referability. Fortune favors the highly competent, with show notes for part 1 and part 3 will be in the at Referrals Podcast and directly below in our Referrals Podcast show notes. Ladies and gentlemen, those are 10 through 6. We're going to share with you next time the top 5 episodes from 2023 and the excerpt from those episodes. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you have an awesome new year. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll see you next time on Referrals Podcast.